days that are tough on the arms.
Yeah. Do you realize you've set yourself apart already in the new year because most people today are not sitting in your seat thinking about the future of their families, and you are. Give yourselves a hand. You're a special group of leaders. And it is always an honor and one of the highlights of my year to be invited to participate in this great tradition that for so many years our business in Canada has started the year on the first Saturday of the year with a huge event like this in Toronto. I hope you saw some of the media coverage you received because it is such a special thing to have this many people come together to think about business and think about the future. And it's just a blessing for me for all of these years, the 15 years our family lived here in Canada, and so many other years since then, to participate in this event. I count it an honor. Today is a very special day. I'm going to share the stage today, and one of the reasons it's an honor for me to be here is because I'll share the stage with some of the greatest leaders in Canadian business. Not just in Primerica, but in Canadian business. Do you understand that? Do you understand that's an honor and a privilege to hear from this group of leadership? And then to add to that, one of the greatest leaders anywhere in our company, to have the chance for, in two different talks, to hear from the great Chris Koo, the leader of Team Unstoppable, one of the greatest leaders in Primerica. Folks, that's an honor. That's an honor for you to be under their tutelage, and it's an honor for me to share the stage with them. If I could just begin by bringing the Happy New Year wishes that my family sent, my wife and partner. We'll celebrate our 32nd wedding anniversary later this year, and so all of our lives we've been together, and she knows many of you, and many of you know her, and she wanted me to be sure and wish you the best for this new year. Our kids, not kids anymore, our daughter Emily will be graduating from the University of Georgia later this year, finally, and so we're excited for her, and our son Marshall is finishing up grade 12 and will be beginning at the University of Georgia in the fall. I think they're going to high-five as they pass. She's going to come out and he's going to come in, and so we are very, very proud of them, and all of them wanted me to wish you a great Canadian New Year, since we're all Canadians, in spite of the funny accents. And in addition to that, your co-CEOs, John Addison and Rick Williams, wanted me to be sure and wish you a Happy New Year, but also tell you how proud they are of what you do. What you've accomplished over the last 25 years that we celebrated last year, but more important than that, what we're going to accomplish in the next 25 years. It's a very, very exciting time for our company, and John and Rick appreciate so much the leadership that the Canadian leadership team and the example that all of our Canadian organization, the largest financial services marketing organization in the country, is Primerica Canada. Do you realize that? Yeah. And we're all very excited about this new year. Very excited about 2012. 2012, we believe, is going to be a special year. It's going to be a huge year. In fact, it's so big, it won't even fit on the screen. It's going to be massive. And we're excited about the new year for the company and excited about the new year for you. But you know, not everyone is excited about 2012. You probably, around the time of the new year, somewhere read an article in the newspaper, heard from the media in some way, what the Mayans think about 2012. Have you heard that? Yep. You know about the Mayans, the civilization down on the coast of Mexico, south of Cancun, and so forth. You know, they put together a plan that says
only the end of a calendar.
This year, the world ends. December of 2012, it's all over. And I'm amazed at how many people are covering that in the media and how many people are worried about that. I just couldn't believe it could get that much publicity and that much press. There have been movies made about it. You see the movie 2012? Movies have been made about it. And I got to thinking about that, and he said, you know, I kind of developed a rule of thumb. My rule of thumb is, if someone makes a prediction about the future, but they're not here to see whether it came true, I don't give it too much credit. I kind of write that off. That's just my rule of thumb. I mean, you know, if you're so dang smart and had such an important civilization that you could figure out the exact day, I believe it's December 21, 2012, the world's going to end, that's it, but you ain't smart enough to survive long enough to see it as a civilization, I'm writing you off. Is that a deal? civilizations. Back in 1986, when I was blessed to be part of the startup of this business in Canada, when our family moved to Canada at the end of 1985, there were a lot of predictors of the future who said disaster awaits. It's just a matter of time before this new company disappears. There were a whole bunch of people out there saying, give them 6 months, maybe only give them 3 months and they'll be gone. You know, in the newspaper recently, one of those companies, Standard Life, just announced they're pulling out of Canada in 2000. I remember when they used to say ugly things about us. What about a great company? What company in Canada could be more stable and more important than Canada Life? But in 2003, they folded into Great West because they couldn't make it on their own. How about those folks at Mutual Life? Some of the nastiest things said about this company in 1986, 1987, 1988, Dave and Randy, were from the folks at Mutual Life, who later changed their name to Primerica, which sounds like something you'd take if you got a runny nose. But in 2002, they folded into Sun Life, and they're not here anymore. And you're still here. What about some of our fellow Americans, the folks at MetLife, 1988, exit Canada. Crown Life, a huge Canadian company, 1998, folded into Canada Life, which didn't help because then in 2003, Canada Life folded into Great West. What about the Freedom 55 guys, London Life? Boy, you talking about nasty. You talking about people said ugly things about you and the leaders before you, and then in 1997, they couldn't do it on their own, so they folded into Great West Life. What about those fellow Americans at Prudential, The Rock? Turned out not to be quite so rockish. And in 1996, they got the heck out of Dodge. Confederation Life went broke in 1995. Hey, you know who's still here? We are. You know what company is stronger than ever? We are. You know what company is not only now public, but totally independent of any ownership by a financial services giant? We are.
Yeah.
You are. And that's why we're excited. That's one of the reasons 2012 is going to be so big. But folks, it doesn't stop there. If you read the article that was in the Investment Executive about Standard Life, as they exited, people were saying, what went wrong? Why couldn't they make it? Here was the quote in the paper. It said, more insurers are likely to follow in Standard Life's footsteps. If smaller insurers don't have the business volume or can't raise prices high enough to make their products profitable, they may also have to exit the business.
Yeah.
Folks, I want you to understand as you sit here today and we talk about the future of Primerica Canada and what it means as a company, but way more important than that, what it means to you and your family. Your competitors are sitting in a room and saying, we've got two choices. We've got to figure out how to do tons more volume, or we got to raise prices high enough, or we got to get the heck out of Canada. Folks, this is a great year to be in business. This is a great year to be in Primerica. We are so excited about what 2012 holds. But you know, we have to have a reason for that confidence. It can't just be a theory. It can't be just something we celebrate. We have to have a reason for our confidence. And that comes down to some of the specifics of why we think our business is on the edge of yet another explosion. You know, I'll be back here in Toronto along with co-CEO John Addison and a team from the U.S. Home Office and the head office in Canada for an RVP meeting. How many RVPs will be with us on Wednesday right here in Toronto? Got a few stops to make between here and there. They've got to swing by Dallas and Chicago between now and then and do some meetings there. But we're going to be here to talk about the future of this great company. And we're going to talk about why we think it's breakthrough time for a company. And we've just begun to make some announcements. We teased everybody on our TV broadcast earlier this week where we've got a new game plan to give our leaders, our field leaders, ownership in the business they're building. How many are excited about owning what you build? We've got a plan that we didn't get a chance to talk about yet on how you can earn equity in your public company. Not have to go out and buy it. We never recommend that you go out and buy our stock. That's not what we're here about. But we want to give you every opportunity for you and your family to earn it. And then we've got other improvements to our products that we're going to be talking about. Incentives. We've got the greatest incentive trip people are qualifying for perhaps that we've ever done to the Broadmoor Resort in Colorado Springs next summer. But then to top that off, The thing that made us successful as a company in the first place. See, this is our plan for Canada's second 25 years, is to create more financially independent families than any other company ever. How many people can get on board for that?
Yeah, I can.
Folks, we're confident in it. We believe that's the direction we're going as a company. It's all about financial independence for your family, not just success for the company. It's fun to be part of a successful company. It's more important for your family to become financially independent. We're so unique as a company because everyone who comes in contact with Primerica can be impacted by the statements on the screen. You see, there are other business opportunities out there, but if you do business with them, if you buy their products, it doesn't get you on the way, your family on the way to financial independence. And Primerica it does. See, there are 3 ways to become financially independent at Primerica. You can be a client, first of all. I would encourage each and every person in there to understand what it is that we do for our clients, because that can make your family financially independent. The second way is you can start a part-time business at Primerica, and you can make money and save money, and you can accumulate money faster because you have another stream of income that you don't have today. And that'll get you to financial independence even faster than just taking advantage of our products. But the best way is exactly what Leo and Nicole were just talking about. It's a full-time career at Primerica. It's becoming a Primerica Canada Regional Vice President. That's the answer, I believe, the best answer in business for your family to become financially independent. Folks, that's what we're focused on. That's what we're going to do. And I'll tell you this in my limited time, as I told the leaders in our preparation meeting just before this event, I believe that the advantage goes to Canada. Now, I can say that I've been with this company, this is my 31st year. 15 of those years I spent living, working here in Canada. The other 15 and a little bit I've been in the U.S., so I believe I'm an expert on both countries. I don't know whether you agree with me, but I consider myself to be an expert on both countries. And I believe that the advantage goes to Canada in 2012. Let me tell you why. First of all, you've got a more stable political and regulatory environment than we have in the U.S. I trust that you're going to gain a tremendous amount of entertainment out of watching our presidential elections in 2012. Because it is a 3-ring circus. Cirque du Soleil has nothing on a U.S. presidential election. So I hope you have fun watching that disaster go on south of the border. You don't have to deal with that. Now, you might not like your politics, you might not like your regulators. I'm sure they're not perfect, but it's a more stable environment than the U.S. The second thing, your economy is stronger. The U.S. economic situation is still in crisis. And I know your economy is not perfect, but it's a lot better than the one south of the border. I believe that the improvements that the company is introducing, that we'll be going into details with your leadership on Wednesday right here in Toronto, actually improve the business more, make it an even bigger improvement in Canada because of the unique dynamics of this business in this country. And I also believe you've got the greatest leadership on the ground anywhere. The field leadership and the head office leadership in Canada that I just referenced a minute ago is the best in the business. And I would like you to take just a moment and give, especially your head office leadership, but also your field leadership a hand, because it's not any better than what you have. That guarantees success. But you know, folks, there's still a choice out there. You still got a choice in 2012. Is it going to be a year of disaster, like the Mayans predicted, or is it going to be a year of destiny? How is this year going to turn out? What are you going to do with it in 2012? What's going to make the difference between disaster and destiny? Folks, I can tell you, the #1 difference maker is not the economy, even though it's better here than it is south of the border. It's not the government, even though it's more stable here than the south of the border. It's certainly not your job or your boss that you hate even worse than your job. It's not even your Primerica team. Some of you in here have got fantastic teams. And it's not even what Primerica will do for you this year. It's all up to you. It's all up to you. Success in 2012, whether your family gets on track or even ends the process of becoming financially independent, is all up to you. And you got to be on guard. Folks, I think the 2 greatest challenges in our North American society today that impact people's ability to do it for themselves are a victim mentality and an entitlement mentality. If you view yourself as a victim, meaning that somebody else has done something that's causing you to not succeed, even if it's true, the same time. You can't be positive and always be moaning about what's happened to you. And you can't have an entitlement mentality. You can't expect something to happen because of what you've done in the past or who you are. Because that's not the way it works. It may not be fair, folks. It's up to you. It's all about what you do this year. Folks, I want to close out just real quick with two commitments. Two commitments. First, a commitment from me. This year, as I said, my 31st year in the business. And as president of this great company, which really is just steward of this great company, we don't put a lot of stock in titles at Primerica, at the corporate level. We all recognize that we're stewards. But as president and steward of this company, I have influence on the resources of this business. I can direct those resources to make certain things happen in a year, and I can influence those. So as president of this company, as a fellow Canadian, in spite of the funny accent, and as a personal friend to many, many people in this room, my commitment to you in 2012 is to work harder than I've ever worked before to make your family financially independent. That's my commitment to you in 2012. Folks, in return, I only ask for one thing, and that's a commitment from you. In 2012, I ask for this commitment, and I'm going to encourage you to keep it not just this year, but every year. Here's the commitment. Commit this year to never let anyone work harder, including me, never let anyone work harder